Hi, in this video we're going to do a short demonstration on how to set up the MaxxECU as a crank and cam trigger simulator. So we'll go to the outputs, we'll go to output configuration. In this situation we've configured output general purpose output 1 as the trigger and general output 2 as the cam signal or cam 1. And when you activate one of these two, it will automatically open up a tree in this branch, trigger pattern generator, enable, disable. How do you want the RPM to be varied is the next selection. So you can either have it as a slider in the software, which, so as you move the slider up and down, it will increase and decrease your RPM. And in this instance, we're going to use it as an analog input, and I'll show you how to set that up in just a second. Max RPM, pretty self-explanatory. What sort of trigger pattern do you want? Here are the options you can have at the moment. 24-2 is a common one. And how do you want the waveform? Do you want it normal or do you want it inverted? We'll just leave those as normal. Now you can take these outputs, GPO output 1 and GPO output 2, and you can run those back into or loop those back into your trigger and home inputs in the ECU. And this will allow you to simulate trigger signals in the ECU and sync everything so you can fire injectors and coils and test your timers and pretend like it's going down the racetrack or just simulate any RPM you wish. Or you can use a second ECU for this functionality and run these signals from another ECU into your trigger and home inputs. So now what we'll do is we'll configure the analog input. We'll go to Advanced, User Tables. We'll enable User Table 1. We'll call it RPM. Leave the name blank, or you can type in RPM. And we're going to use this analog input as a pattern generator RPM. So basically what that means is the value that's output will correspond to the maximum RPM that you've selected in the trigger pattern. So in this instance, we've selected 12,000 RPM. So in our user table, 0 equals 0 RPM. And in the user table software, 500 is the maximum. So 500 will equal 12,000 in this example. And you can see I've chosen this axis as time after launch. So when I let go of the launch button or let go of the clutch or whatever activates your launch timer, it will now, over time, it will give me this RPM ramp over time, which simulates, this would be first gear, then it'll shift, then the RPM will drop in that second gear, and then the RPM will drop that's third gear, so on and so forth. And then you can change this around as you see fit, and you can drag these dots up and down as you see fit. And then that way, when you let go of the launch control button, it will automatically cycle through this timer and it will make the RPMs increase and decrease in the trigger simulator. Thanks for choosing MaxxECU.